Hi everyone, my name is Daniela and I'm going to explain to you how to make your hamper lists with the Excel doc that we provided with you. So, like it says in the instructions, before you start working on it, just open the Excel doc and save it to your computer. It should look something like this. There's three main sections that you need to be aware of. So over here is the list, our master list of all the items that need to be in the hamper. Over here are important numbers that you need to know. And over here is where your lists are ultimately going to be inputted. In the B section here is a legend of must-haves, should-haves, family-dependent items, and green items, which are must-haves. However, they depend on the demographic. So just to move on, if you want to read through these instructions to understand what the numbers mean, that's going to help you in the long run. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to skip on to the actual example. So our example family demographic is the Batris family, mom, dad, 2 girls, and a boy. And there are some special requests, like the fact that this family is vegetarian and has a nut allergy. They also require bedding and winter clothing. So moving on. The first step is actually adding the items that are in the special request section. So to do this, you actually scroll to the bottom. And since they do have a small child, we're going to add things like diapers, gloves, and toques. And bedding. Now, we also have things such as gifts, which, as I already said, are must-haves. So we're going to put ×2 for gifts, just so that the classes know that we're looking for 2 gifts for mom, 2 gifts for dad, and 2 gifts for each of the family members. Gift, 2, gift times 2, girl, 2, gift times 2. Perfect. So as we said, this is specific to the demographic. You're going to have to do this for every single member of your family. So once we have added their special requests, we also have to eliminate items that are not applicable to this demographic. So we already said that this family was vegetarian and that there is a nut allergy. So we're going to go through the list and find the red items, which are family dependent. So, for example, canned meat. They're vegetarian, so we're just going to get rid of that. Keep scrolling down. As you can see here for your template one, you'll see that gifts were already added. I just added them to the bottom, so if you just want to clear that out, that's perfect. We'll keep scrolling down. And just making sure that we get rid of anything that's not going to be applicable to this family. So nuts, because there's that nut allergy. Keep going, keep going, keep going. If there's something that you think we didn't think of that you see on the list that you know isn't applicable to your family, you can go through the list yourself and eliminate that. I think we missed one. Tuna, chicken, and salmon. Perfect. Now we need to readjust the list and move them up so that there's no spaces between lists. So you do this differently for a Mac. I'm going to show you for a PC. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything in a section, copy it, then clear the contents, and then just copy and paste it in the next cell up so that it's all one list. I'm going to do the same for the next section. In the instructions for a PC, it's very clear how you do this. I'm just showing this on a Mac, which is why I'm just going to do this very quickly so that Mac users can just see what I'm doing. So we're basically just moving everything up because when we randomize the list later on, there can't be those spaces. Perfect. As you can see the instructions for a PC right here. They're already lined up for you. So now we need to determine the total number of items in the list. So basically, this is now determined by our last line here, which is 112. I'm actually just going to readjust this mom gift so that it ends up being 117, like in our example. And boy 7. Perfect. So now you can see that the last item on our list is at row 117. So what we're going to do with that number is input it in the total number items of list cell, which is one of the yellow boxes. $117. Perfect. Now we need to determine the number of classes per hamper. So this is basically determining how many lists you need per hamper. And in our example, we're going to say that for one family, the task of collecting all these items is going to be divided among 5 classes. So therefore, we need to divide this huge master list right here into 5 lists. So we're going to input that number into the other yellow box. And then we're going to press tab. And what that gets us is the total number of items per list. So once you fill in those yellow boxes, this automatically comes up. And for our example, it says 23. So now the next step is to randomize the list. The reason we need to do that is because this list right now is in alphabetical order, and a lot of the food items are actually bunched together. So we don't want to put the burden of all the food items or all the hygiene products or all the toiletries on one class. So by randomizing that, we actually prevent that. So what we're going to do is we're going to select cell B1 and drag it down until we have, and drag it down until we've highlighted all of it. So what that looks like is here. So go up to B1. And next what we're going to do is we're going to randomize it. On the instructions itself, it says what to do for a PC. For a Mac, we go here and we randomize. Perfect. Now after randomizing, we can start making the actual list. So what we do is we actually press the Make Lists button. We'll get a range, and what you're going to do for that range is actually select the items in column A. We're going to press OK. Number of items per list, that was 23. Pasting cell. So we're actually going to scroll up, and this G8 will always be your pasting cell. And we're going to press OK. So the instructions are a little bit different for a PC. That's why we have screenshots in our instructions. Perfect. And as you can see, as in the instructions, our lists are now made, but we're not done. So we're just going to move on to filling the list. So each list will need 25 items to look complete. In our case, you can see it was 23 items per list. So we're actually going to fill the bottom of these with items. So we have to fill it with the must-have items. The board earlier this year decided what items are considered essential in a hamper, which we want all families to have. So what you're going to do is actually go through the list and fill these bottom items with these blank spaces with must-haves. So the best way to do that is to start from the bottom. So your must-haves, remember, look at your legend, are your italics. So you're going to find items that are italics. You can even include those special items too. So do that. Perfect. Peanut butter and plastic wrap. Perfect. What else? Spring canned chili. Oh, 3. Olive oil, shampoo and conditioner. Olive oil, Mandarin Orange baking powder. I'm going to add those diapers because that was a specific thing that they wanted. Granola bars. What else? This whole section here is must-haves. Some potatoes. Perfect. This whole section here are must-haves. This whole section here. Now I just need 2 more items. Garbage bags and soup. Perfect. And just to make everything consistent, I'm going to make it all white. Okay, so after we have done that, we move on to adding the family demographics to our list. So once all the lists are full, you start adding those demographics. This actually depends on what you want to provide to your schools or to your classrooms. So we have the option of doing bingo cards, or we have the option of doing regular lists. So we'll start with bingo cards. So if you're on a Mac, you will notice that the O is being cut off. What you want to do is go to layout and change your margins to narrow so that it's all on the same page. Perfect. So now you want to add the demographics. You're going to add as many people as necessary and include all the information provided in the demographics. For the sake of this example, I don't have the clothing sizes or shoe sizes of the Batchers family, but if you do, add them to this section so that every single classroom can see that. This is especially important for obviously the classrooms that have the gifts on their lists. So how I'm going to do that is we'll start with bingo cards, and I'm going to go to the family demographic. First, I'm probably just going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing. Perfect. Family demographic, I'm going to go mom. Then on a Mac, to create a line break, you go Control Option Enter. The instructions are on the sheet for a PC. I'm going to go dad. Girl, 13. Girl, 10. Perfect. And so what you're going to do is that's actually going to pop it onto every single sheet, but it's not going to look as pretty. So what you're going to want to do is click on the first box, then click on the paint format button, double click. Then when you click on the other boxes, it should switch it to that same format. So just obviously go up to the amount of lists that you were looking to make. Okay, so that should bring all the family demographics into the same format if you want to use regular lists. So you basically do the same thing. So we'll go to regular lists, except you add the family demographic, obviously on the top. Perfect. So we click here, we go mom, dad, girl, and boy, 7 months. And kind of the same thing, you want the demographics to be in a nice list, so that's why we use that control option turn. It looks kind of ugly right now because if you press tab, in the other lists it shows up as a sentence, so you're going to do the same thing. Click on this, double click on paint format, and then click on the other ones so that they're in nice lists as well. Obviously only go up to as many lists as you need. As you can see here, again, the margins are off, so you want to switch it to narrow so it's all on one sheet. And then after this is the last step. You just print the lists. So that's a pretty straightforward thing to do. I'm not going to explain how to do that. But essentially, you have all your lists for one family done already. A really important thing is filling in those lists with must-haves so that they're complete, so that every list is actually 25 items. And if you have any questions, just shoot us an email and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But we hope that this video was informative and that it was helpful to you as well.